Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Jake Sturmer. Australian investors are being ripped off by a new wave of sophisticated online scams that are costing some their life savings. Investors have been milked for well over $100 million after buying worthless or non-existent shares or securities sold on the internet. As Hayden Cooper reports, the Australian Crime Commission is warning that organised criminals have moved in on the now booming business.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event of the evening.
The lure of fast money.
From wrong range, what a goal! He's done it again!
On the sporting fields and in the markets, it's everywhere. And for more and more Australian investors, it's a temptation that leads to ruin.
It was really the straw that broke the camel's back and forced me back into the workforce. Yeah, it's been huge. I've had to reinvent my entire life.
Marcus Hale is one of hundreds of online investors caught out by a complex and slick sports betting operation.
Hello and welcome to Cohen Strachan Investment, the home of sports trading.
Like many others, it promised great returns and low risk, using mathematical formulas to bet on sporting events worldwide.
Set the program before you go to bed and check your profits before breakfast. Now it's your turn to cash in.
The company targeted trade fairs to recruit investors, convincing Marcus Hale it was legitimate. He forked out $16,000 for the software and another $20,000 on top of that. His balance started growing.
And I was watching it with great interest, obviously. Every Wednesday morning, I'd have a look at the website and see what the account had done without me doing anything. The old adage, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, comes in there. So, and one day it appeared with a little red lettering on it, this account's no longer active. And I looked at that and knew what had happened immediately. So I went back to work.
His money was gone, the website was gone, and his efforts to chase his $36,000 were fruitless.
By the time I got around to ringing them, there was nobody there.
It's just one example of a whole range of organised investment operations that have been uncovered. The Australian Crime Commission's new report gives an insight into just how common this is. The true figures are unknown, but since 2007, at least 2,500 Australians have been stung.
Now these figures we say are very, very conservative, partly because people feel embarrassed about the fact that they've lost their life savings.
The victims are often older men, intelligent, financially savvy. As they watch their investment grow online, typically they tip even more money in.
You will be amazed at how much money you can make.
The fraudsters are often in Southeast Asia and use the internet and the phone to catch their prey.
They have certainly very well coordinated scripts. They ring through cold calling. They're very convincing, often using tourists so that they can mimic the accents of particular locations they purport to call from. They've got very sophisticated website designers. They actually falsify the regulators and the police. They have people spruiking, reputable people, all false, spruiking how good their investments are.
So please do not use the phone.
Shutting down the scams is difficult. Catching the perpetrators even harder. It's something authorities have been grappling with for the past decade at least. This is one raid by Thai police on a scam run by expatriates in Bangkok. The footage shows just how sophisticated the schemes are.
Can you move into the middle aisle right here now? Everyone, get up from the chair. Stand in single file.
These are not the sort of thugs that you'll see, down in Long Bay Jail. I mean, these are very shrewd white-collar criminals who put on a fantastic front.
Ken Gamble is a private investigator who's been hired to track down the money lost by Marcus Hale and hundreds of others. He's had no luck getting Australian police involved.
The problem is it's getting the police to actually take on the case. There's hundreds of cases that never get investigated. They get swept aside because of other priorities.
Well, this is one of the very challenging aspects of fraud that's committed in cyberspace, and particularly serious and organised investment fraud. The issue of jurisdiction and the gathering of evidence in a traditional policing way is very difficult to do in some of these countries and locations, particularly when one can't find where the money has actually gone to.
This is a lure. It looks like a fish, but it's not a fish.
It's not. No.
For those who've been burnt, they're unlikely to ever see their money again. Marcus Hale got off lightly compared with other investors, some of whom have lost millions. But in this online world, they won't be the last to be scammed.
These people are experts at making things look like something they're not, and they're very, very, very good at it.
The rapid rise of social networking has come with a dark side. Cyberbullying by children has now become so serious, the Human Rights Commission has stepped in. Letitia Lemke reports.
It's the new way to mingle in the playground. Technology has brought the World Wide Web to people's pockets, and this is where much of children's social networking is taking place.
The whole use of technology and social media has expanded, and inevitably that means that the platforms where people can be bullied have also been expanded.
Sort of bullying on steroids, because the children are humiliated at a much greater public level. They're bullied 24/7, whereas before it was just at school.
The Australian Human Rights Commission has launched a new campaign in a bid to stop cyberbullying. Research shows 50% of Australian children are bullied, and 1 in 10 experience bullying online.
I just thought it was normal. You know it's wrong, but you just have a feeling that it's just it happens every day. That's what you think.
15-year-old Jasper Matthews called the police after online threats escalated to schoolyard beatings. Luckily, his friend was brave enough to step in.
Everyone was watching him, just standing there watching him get hurt, but I was the one who, me and a few other mates were the ones actually helped him.
Rather than rushing for help, many teenagers are reaching for their smartphones, filming fights and uploading them on the internet. The Australian Human Rights Commission wants that culture to change.
In 87% of the circumstances where someone is being bullied online, someone knows about it. And we really felt that this campaign needed to target the person who knows about it. And that's why we've called it Back Me Up. Actually, back up someone, help them out.
The campaign aims to start a national conversation. It's calling on teenagers to make and upload videos talking about what cyberbullying is and their responsibility as community members to stop it.
China has sent its first female astronaut into space recently, another step towards its ambitions to become a space superpower. The Long March rocket blasted off from its launch pad on the edge of the Gobi Desert. Once in orbit, Li Yu-jung and 2 male colleagues conducted the country's first manned docking in space. The astronaut's safe return prompted an outpouring of national pride. China plans to build its own space station by 2020. If scientists in Brisbane have their way, unmanned aircraft may soon be coming to the sky above you. A 2-year joint project has begun to demonstrate the benefits and safety of aerial drones away from the battlefield. John Taylor has more.
For years, armies around the world have been using drones to seek out and destroy their enemies. But in natural disasters, they could prove lifesavers.
At the moment, those assets which are doing the rescuing are also doing the searching. What you really want is something like this to stay up for 24 hours at a time and do the searching so you can better apply your helicopters and rescue assets and rescue people faster.
Aerospace experts from Boeing, CSIRO and the Queensland University of Technology have launched a $7 million project to demonstrate and examine unmanned aerial vehicles in civilian skies.
The work that we do in this next 2-year time frame really breaks down the final barriers in allowing UAVs to perform pretty critical stuff in civil and environmental applications.
UAVs come in all shapes and sizes. You can buy this one at a toy shop. Military reconnaissance drones have flown hundreds of thousands of combat hours in Iraq and Afghanistan. This map is showing every commercial aircraft in the air over Australia right now. And one of the key questions that this project is looking at is how unmanned aerial vehicles can safely fly in an already crowded airspace.
They need to be able to detect, so they need the technology to be able to detect other aircraft and avoid them, so stay out of the way.
Once that's sorted out, expect drones in a sky near you.
Yes, that's the future. It's Battlestar Galactica, we've seen it.
Greed is good, or so the saying goes, but tech gurus are increasingly saying failure is good. Would-be entrepreneurs are being told not to be afraid to make mistakes, especially in the rapidly changing digital world. Simon Palin caught up with some of Australia's most successful innovators.
Internet entrepreneur Matt Barry knows what it's like to take a big risk. 3 years ago, he bought 10 companies and combined them into one, a website for businesses looking for freelance workers.
And so in the last 3 years, we've gone from about the 5,000th biggest website in the world to the top 300. So it's, the site's really booming.
Taking big risks and potentially embracing failure is key to successful innovation, according to a new report.
At the core of innovation is good failure. If you don't fail, then generally you're probably not innovating.
Deloitte interviewed key executives at 30 of the world's biggest technology, media and telecommunications firms. It's found innovation works best when employees at all levels collaborate.
Historically, innovation actually occurs when people come together en masse, but our organisation structures actually work against that.
Small and large businesses are also urged to use social networking websites to talk to customers. That's something Telstra is doing in a bid to improve customer service.
We find out about systemic issues from our social media channels often earlier and quicker and sooner than we would from other channels.
Analysts say improving innovation is particularly important for Australia, where mining profits won't last forever. The OECD ranks Australia 13th on innovation out of 34 countries. Some say the answer lies in education.
The biggest problem we have is the same problem that most of the Western world faces, which is declining enrolments in engineering and the hard sciences.
And that's helping to fuel Australia's growing skills shortage.
And that's it for this edition of the Technology Quarter. I'm Jake Sturmer. Thanks for your company. Bye for now.